So you've been able to establish that you can identify all of the symbols that you found from the pictures that you studied. Can you translate the Gosford Glyphs from these symbols?
Yes, we can.
We definitely can. Because if they are Egyptian symbols, then we're going to look for the meanings. But then we have to let our audience know that the Egyptian symbols are different. Like one symbol can be a word, and words can be made from more than one symbol. And that's why we brought like some examples to tell our audience. Like for example, the most famous symbol, the Ankh, or the key of life. And you can know here like how many meanings can be for the Ankh.
For the same word.
Yeah, and depends on the location of it in the sentence, we will know which meaning they want.
Yeah, so these are only the official meanings. There are many levels of
Exactly.
meanings I don't even see.
This is another symbol, Hajj, and of course the code is S14, and this is what it means, silver. There was no money back in the days, but we put the word money for it to know that this was the unit that they were trading
Method of
with.
exchange, yeah,
Exactly.
trading, yeah.
Exactly. This is the symbol Redi, which means to give. D20 is the code. Hornibu is also one symbol. This is one symbol, even if it's made from two different words, because Nibu means the gold, and the Hor is Horus, of course. So this is the golden horse, but because it's a title, then it became only one symbol with one code, which is G8.
By the way, this was one of the titles for the Egyptian kings.
Yeah.
During the ancient Egyptian civilization.
One of the five labels or titles for each king. Yes.
Yeah. This is also Ini. The code is W25, and you can see it can have many different meanings. Mostly it's bringing or reaching also.
And carrying, or looks like a container that he's carrying.
Yes, it's a container. Above two legs, so that's how you bring it. You carry it on.
Exactly.
This is also one of the rare symbols, V15. It's also made from two different symbols together, but because it became one word, one symbol, so they gave it only one code to represent it, V15. Iwa, F44, this also one symbol. And as you can see, it has more than like 10 different meanings, but it's all about the same meaning, but in different shapes, like inherit or heritage, or inheritance or inheritor. You know, they're both around the same meaning. Sometimes the symbols don't have the same meaning, like you can see.
Depends on the context with which it's used.
This is a sarcophagus or a coffin, and it can mean coffin. Or to bury, which is one of the symbols that tell us what was the writings of, part of the writings about Gosford.
It could play as a noun or as a verb.
Right.
Yeah.
But the language is not chaos. Okay, it was the letters and the writings were arranged in a certain sequence, and the people who studied the ancient Egyptian language, they study the order of the sentences. That's why they can easily understand if this is playing as a verb or as a noun. Okay, and where the object, where is the subject. But it's, in the same time, it's not that easy also. Okay.
This is also one of the symbols, khipr, and you can see there is like like 7 or 8 lines of meanings for the same word.
Wow.
But the main one is to exist or to become.
To become, yes.
Yes. This is again the symbol Nefel, and as you can see also, the famous meanings for these symbols like well-being or beauty or beautiful or kind, but also can have other meanings like zero, like end, like finish. And we believe one of the two here in the Gosford Glyphs has one of these rare meanings in it. And this, of course, depends on the location of the symbol in the sentence.
I can see how this was such a challenge for you both.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We did lots of work.
It wasn't
for over
easy.
4 months.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
This is Nej, also J27. It's a symbol of protection or safe. Neter, R8, divine or God, sacred. This is again the symbol Muhammad brought. Bah, which means end or finish, and also has multiple meanings.
That's funny. The end of a lion meaning the end.
Yeah, same like the front of the line means in the
Yes,
front.
they make
Yeah.
it sad.
Like in the name of Ha'achitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl is one of the really rare symbols that I actually myself didn't realize that it exists. Only when I was studying the Gosford Glyphs, I knew that there is such a symbol. It means to ascend.
Okay.
This is one of also the symbols Muhammad brought, but I brought it again. A55. It's corpse or like a dead person. Yes, and the meanings of it as a verb, you can see it here. Do in the night. This means because the ancient Egyptians didn't have a word or didn't use the word death. So when you west, like the sun wests, that means you are in the night time, or
Yes,
like in the
yes.
dark time. That means like
Speaks to the cycles.
exactly. This is also one of the rare symbols, and we believe this fits the symbol N4, even if you can find some difference in the shape of the symbol, but it's giving the same meaning with the sky, and the rain is pouring from it. So this is not any type of rain. This is like a rainstorm.
Deluge.
Or which will have a very important meaning in the part of the story we're going to be translating for you soon. Sikhem, this is the symbol of power. And of course, Zish means right.
Scribe.
Yes.
You say it right now, but the most famous meaning is ascribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, we choose the right meaning which serve the rest of the sentences.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the symbol they put for scribers. Right? The
Yes,
scribers
I
do
recognize
writing.
it,
So it's
yes.
the same meaning, maybe the different culture. Like if you want to translate this into English, you will have different words for it, but they're all around the same meaning.
Yeah, the
Okay.
writer, the writes.
Yes.
The writer writes.
Exactly.
Yes, of course.
And then we can look at some of the words that's made from more than one symbol.
Can you recognize words made from more than one symbol?
Yes, we recognize many words made from 2 symbols and more up until 6 symbols for one word, which is very complicated, or like something. Also, one of the evidence that the person was not copying, or he was not just writing, like he was not putting any just symbols that he recognized.
Not haphazard words.
Yes.
There's true sentences
True
within the
and
text.
complicated words.
Exactly. This is again to make it clear. This is a huge evidence that this is the text, not just a package of symbols. And as people can read and understand hieroglyphics, we can deceive you and we can collect the information from individual symbols.
Yeah.
No, we are telling you that we have big words, as Yusuf said, from 1 till 6 symbols. Okay, so no way to
There's
think
no
that it's
famous
made up.
text that they could
Yes.
have copied from, because these are
Mhm.
symbols, rare symbols found in many
Mhm.
different places,
Mhm.
and there is no one text that they could have copied this from.
Yeah, and again, the person who talked about the Gosford is a hoax. He said that these symbols doesn't spell anything. Now we're proving him wrong. And I'll leave this one especially for Muhammad, because sometimes one word can really take lots of research.
Mhm.
And as Muhammad did, he's lots of research about this symbol. Yes. Bring it from your
Tamam.
list so you can.
Okay, so this is according to the picture, we can see this word called Ajao. Ajao, it has some meanings called wrong, error, blame, deception, guilt. Okay. When I first look to the word, I understand immediately that this is Ajao. But when you go in a deep research, you will find that yes, this is Ajao, but this is not the usual type of writing Ajao. Here is the word. Okay, this is the word written on the above right side, Ajao, from the Gosford Glyphs, and this is the same word from the symbols in our lists. But look to the two words Ajao listed in the dictionaries. The one to the left side called Aja. So the W or the O in the end doesn't exist. Okay. On the right side with red color, we can read it Ajao, but we will not find the symbol arm like the one on the left side. Here it is a complete man holding this kind of scepter. Okay, so the one who wrote that word on Gosford Glyphs, he was aware, or that is his language. He could understand that he can do the word with the arm, but in the same time he can add this vowel to the end of the word to make a stress on the pronunciation in the end, to be pronounced Ajao. So again, if someone is doing a copy, he would choose one of the two words we can see in the bottom. This one to the right side or that one to the left side. But the one who made that, he was knowledgeable with his language. He made this kind of mix, okay? And we may call it mix because this is what we have now. But maybe this is one of the words were common at the time. This is one of the shapes of this word.
So even with your combined knowledge, you wouldn't, either one of you, have been able to write what he did on the glyphs because of the rare use of symbols that he used.
Exactly.
This is
Mhm.
important
If I'm copying, I would choose one of these two.
Exactly.
But him choosing the one to the left and adding that spiral letter on top of the arm, showing that he's also aware of the pronunciation.
Exactly.
That's why he put this symbol, he put that sign.
Make sure we read it.
It's
Sure,
something that
pronunciation
somebody
is right.
copying would never
Yes.
have thought of,
No,
would
of
never
course.
have conceived
No.
of.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Because you said copy, because our knowledge, again, taken from what? From the books or from the daily life, okay? So if I am just a foreign person or I'm not aware with the daily life activities and the local knowledge, I'm going to use only the books. And this is what existed in books. Those two types of the word are existed in books. So if my knowledge ended at the book side, I'm going to use one of the two. But if my knowledge extended to the daily life and the local knowledge, I'm going to use the same shape he used. Okay? So if we are talking about someone using the local knowledge, so it means he is Egyptian. And Egyptian did this in modern time. They did that in ancient time. And also we can use the letter O or the W, we can see it on the screen, the spiral shape, as another evidence for how we can date the writings. But I'm not dating the connection now between Egypt and Australia. I'm dating the writings itself, that this is again in the late Egyptian time, because that kind of symbol was originally a check, okay? And
So you're saying originally in ancient times they used a check.
in what we call it Old Kingdom and
Right.
Middle Kingdom, but developed later to represent this shape in late Egyptian time,
So
or after
the New
the
Kingdom?
Middle Kingdom.
Or after the Middle
Yeah,
Kingdom.
but
Okay.
was widely used during the New Kingdom, the late Egyptian time, and what we call it Greco-Roman time.
you
Okay.
can see a similar symbol in the Old and Middle Kingdom, but it was used as a number.
Right. Now, I also want to point out that some people say some of these glyphs were added later, and because this is actually part of a sentence that's describing something, this glyph was probably not added later, it was added at the
No,
time
it is
of the
both.
glyphs. Yes.
This is not a sentence. Please go back.
This is
Oh, I mean, it's a word, I'm sorry.
Now you can see that this is one word made from 5 different symbols. D36, and U28, and G1, and D14, plus the spiral shape. So the one in the dictionary will only contain the 4 Z9. Yeah. The one in the dictionary will only contain the 4, and it will read Aja, as the not Ajab. This is again why the other symbol was added, why the other sign was added, to make sure the pronunciation, or also reflects that the person who wrote it is well aware of the pronunciation.
This is the local
of the
knowledge.
word. Yes, yes.
And this is 5 symbols that make one word.
One
Yeah,
word.
5 symbols that makes one word.
Beautiful.
This is very famous one. Hal-Neter means the servant of God, or God's servant. Can also represent a priest or a prophet. And it's made from the 2 symbols, R8 and U36. The reason we brought all these ones with the codes, so that professionals, real professionals on hieroglyphs, can understand what we are talking about, because everybody follow the codes, and all these words are listed in the dictionaries with the sequence of the codes, just like the way we brought it here.
You're making it easy to verify the word.
And
that you
also
found.
make it impossible for any professional to deny that these are ancient Egyptian words, correct ancient Egyptian words.
And
This is, yeah.
by the way, that those letters you can see, the one were brought from our side, we didn't do any enhancement to any letter. That is, the letter was found on the sign list, the same shape with the code. Okay, so we didn't do anything to make this letter similar to the letter on the Gosford Glyphs. No,
Or
this
the
is the
word.
one we found.
Everything you're showing came right out of the book.
Exactly.
This is another word made from 3 symbols, D58 and Z1 and O1.
I want to also let you understand that the ancient Egyptian used such symbols, which give sometimes the pronunciation of a letter. Like this is we say it B like baby, okay, and this is the stroke, and this is the word can individually pronounce it ber, okay, but all together pronounce it boo. This stroke, we can see it in the original word in the middle, in between. But in the picture, from the Gosford Glyphs, we can see it above the word ber, okay? Which is not wrong, by the way. But this is what they agreed to put in the book. That is the most famous example for putting the stroke. But having the stroke in that location, that is also right and accepted. Okay.
So you're basically saying that just because it's in the book one way doesn't mean that there aren't other variations
Absolutely.
of the same
Absolutely.
word.
And sometimes, and we're going to show you, sometimes it is written wrong on the book. I will not say wrong also to use the same scale. Written in a different way from the famous way. Like we're going to show you a word now in any tomb written in a certain shape, in any temple or tomb, and in the book they wrote it in a different style.
And it's more correct in Gosford than the dictionary.
In the book.
Yeah.
This
one. We can see the snake above and the chisel shape or that long shape under the snake. In the dictionary, it is written next to each other. Okay? But if we look to the pictures, okay, here it is. If we look above the head of the falcon to the left side, we can see the word Jed, Midu, Im. But we care about Jed and Midu. So we can see the snake is above and the long shape is under the snake. That is the famous shape they used to write this word. But in the dictionary, we can see it written like this. So sometimes we can see it different in the dictionary. But the one who wrote the glyphs in Gosford, he made it perfect. This is the famous usual shape.
Yeah, the very usual shape that the ancient Egyptians carved it or wrote it in their time. But the most important in the dictionary is to put the signs in sequence, so you know which one comes first. Like
Exactly.
that.
So,
Zed midu means words to be spoken.
and this is a very important beginning, because they tell you who is going to say the next words or the coming words. So Jed Midu saying, those words are said by, and then they put the name of the one who write or the one is talking. Okay.
This is another word, jet. It's a word made from 3 symbols, and it's meaning eternity. It means eternity. The famous one we see in the also in the tombs and in the temples is the usual one made instead of the 3rd symbol that's showing water, and it shows this symbol exactly that's showing earth. So does that mean it's wrong? No. When you look in the dictionary, you find that also one of the symbols, one of the words of eternity is made from these 3 symbols, including the last one, which is water, not earth.
As you can see here from this part, you can see in jet. In replaces the sign of the land type. So this is from the sign list of Alan Gardner, and he admit that the word jet with this shape can be replaced, or the last or the 3rd sign, which means land, can be replaced by the water wave sign, as he made it here. You can see. So again, we are not giving you our own story. No, we're still using the respectable sources like Alan Gardner and the other people.
Exactly, citing that it was found, even if it's a rare case.
Here is another one made from 4 symbols. This is reads Midu Neter, which means divine words. And it's made from the symbols R8 and S43, Z1 and Z3. Z1 and Z3 are the one line and the 3 little lines. So, and the man who wrote Gosford, or carved these writings out, he put all the signs, he put the 3 signs and the other one like Z1 and Z3, so to represent the whole thing. Midu Neter. This is also one of the ones I found proving that this is authentic writings, because it happens that I counted the curves of the water underneath the sign D35, which is the sign N35, the water sign, and it actually has the same amount of curves, 7 exactly. So it shows like really, if I'm just copying or doing that, I will just do, you know, a few, 5, 4. Sometimes it happened. Sometimes it happens in real ancient writings that they can be 5.
But there is something, if I can add, when we were studying hieroglyphics, we were learning, especially in this symbol, that if we are doing the water wave, the N, we must start from the lower level, and maybe we can do 8 or 9 waves, but we shall end in the same lower level.
Both strokes must
Both
go
going
down.
down.
Yes.
But one going up, one going down, that is fake. That is wrong. That is complete.
Okay.
We didn't have any case. All are going down. Okay, all the times. So this one, and there are other representations of N sign, all are going down. So this man is aware with what he is doing. So if someone is going to use a kind of normal knowledge about hieroglyphics, is going to translate this as the Dishret. Dishret means the red crown of the north of Egypt. And we are famous, we know that there are famous stories about the red crown and the white crown, the red for the north and the white for the south, and then became one crown later. But let's go back to the meaning. Dishret, red crown, which is in this case is not the same meaning as we explained to you that each symbol, according to the sentences, it gives different meaning. So according to this picture brought by Yusuf, we can see it is written Niti, the crown with T shape and two strokes representing Y. Okay, so Niti means who, which, that. Okay, not in anyhow the word the red crown in this formula, in this story.
Because the symbols together make up a word.
And this is what we are trying to explain, that it wasn't easy at all to understand the pictures immediately, or the symbols. We can understand them immediately as individual symbols. I can tell you each symbol represents what, but as a symbol, not as a word or a sentences. But doing them as a whole word or sentences, it takes lots of time, because some of the words are not written complete with abbreviations, and we're going to show you this, okay? And other meanings, we need more studies and deeper studies to figure out the real meaning.
This one, which means sandstone, is made from 4 different signs, and it's underneath other symbols that show structure, like a gate and a house and a wall, and then it's talking about sandstone. And I didn't examine the stone, but from the stories that I heard, that this mountain itself is sandstone.
And these 2 big blocks are definitely sandstone.
Yeah, so this is the name of the type of stone that these carvings are on.
And this is on the left wall.
This is in the left wall.
So this isn't the one that you interpreted the story from?
No, the story, actually the biggest part of the story was written on the lower right wall. Okay. Which will
the lower side of the right wall.
Yes, but with the left wall, to translate the whole thing, it can take like a couple of years. But we know that we have to work fast. So we believe that we found enough to prove that the authenticity of it.
What?
This is also another word from the left wall. It's the word sihwar, which is made from 5 different symbols. And so perfect, even the character of the man with his hand in his mouth, A2. And the word itself means curse. This is the largest word we found made from 6 different symbols. And this actually, the first word I found to give me the lines, to reveal for me the text, was this one, to tell me which line is up and which line is down, because you know the writings are not looking so sharp.
Oh, so whether they went vertically or horizontally?
We had actually both. We found out 2 different types of writings in the Gosford Glyphs. Some of it is horizontal and some of it is vertical, which again shows the awareness and knowing, high level of knowing this language. We believe it's the person's first language.
But not this is what Yusuf is talking about. He's talking about the word order next to each other.
Yeah.
So, because we are depending on our experience from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, from tombs and temples, so we understand it goes all in a perfect line. But here some words are not going perfect together. Okay, some words on the left side, and the others on the right side, but below the line, not existed in the same line. So we had to recorrect the word line. Okay. Also about this word, there is something we need to mention here, showing also the ability of drawing the right symbol. Okay.
Now what we're looking here is I see Sonia's drawing of the glyph.
Exactly.
Behind your overlays.
This is what was sent by Sonia and we use it as a background to put my symbols above. Okay, and I want to mention something. Okay, and Sonia actually did a great job, but sometimes you know, you do mistakes. Okay, because you need to see the place several times. So if someone is copying this and made a mistake, what about the one who made it originally if it is fake? Sonia here in that letter, she made it two separate symbols. She made it cross and like an egg shape. Okay, but after I made a deeper look to the original picture of Gosford Glyphs, I found it that they are connected as one shape, which is the symbol nefer. Okay, so I like to talk about this symbol now. From the picture and the drawings, we can see it. This one is similar to the Egyptian symbol I or E. Okay.
Now it looks like a feather.
Exactly, like a feather or a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they say that this shape I or E looks like a feather or a knife. But normally we use it as a feather shape. Okay. And we give it the phonetic I or E. Okay. But when Yusuf discovered that this word is sha'b, okay, the whole word, this word, he found the six, or the beginning he found the 5 letters of the word are exactly the same or the same, and we found that the shape of the feather is not a feather, it is a knife. And then when we went back to examine the picture again, we understood immediately it's a knife, it's not a feather. Okay, but because we are using our limited view to the picture, we use it as individual symbols. Okay, and this is the big mistake, to see it as individual symbols. We're going to make it feather, but now use it as a complete word. We're going to see it is clear that it is a knife, not a feather.
And that's just like any language. There's words that have many different meanings in any language, and you have to take it in context with the letters or words around it.
Exactly. Even in Arabic language, we have word cheese in Arabic. It means coward also at the same time, the same
Cheese
letters.
or coward.
Cheese, yeah, okay. So, but how we understand the meaning from the rest of the words.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, we've seen a lot of the symbols now, and the one thing that stands out to me is how sloppy the writings look, especially in the pictures. Why do they look so sloppy if they're authentic?
Well, you have to know first how the writings were being added in the ancient tombs and temples to compare it with this. The writings to be and the depictions on the walls to be added, they had to draw it first. They had to actually set up the wall and measure it and do the line and the mathematically figuration, so they can do the drawings and the writings and then carve it.
So they drew a picture and then carved it.
Yes, and this job was made by highly trained priests that did their studies and did their like exercise and the training in the temple. So they were like it's like a
Something they had
yeah.
done all their lives.
Exactly.
They were educated as religious education first, and then moved from being a priest only to be a priest and a scribe.
Yes.
And that's why they started this job. So they were very professional writers and scribes.
Yeah.
Did this.
So to compare this, which Muhammad just mentioned, a very important part of what you see when you look at the Gosford Glyphs is that the lines, as we were just talking about the word sha'b, and how the lines are not straight. You can find that the line is actually coming down like with the writings, and then the other one is also with the same angle.
Sloping.
This, for me as a stone carver, and I'm well aware of this, this is what this will happen as a result if you carve these writings straight. without drawing the symbols first. And that's another challenge because there is no space, or like there is no another chance to correct if you made a mistake. And that also means you really have to know the shape of the symbols very, very well so you can carve it right away. I carve it on statues, but I follow the priesthood style, that I draw it first and then carve it. If I started to carve it right away, even if I know the symbol and I know how to draw it, it's going to come like a disaster. For me, I'm going
Mistakes
It's
happen.
like anyone doing something freehand. If we were
Yeah.
to go up and write on even a billboard,
Yeah.
we would make mistakes.
Exactly.
And you're saying he carved this on sandstone
Right
without
away.
any kind of.
No, he didn't
Yeah.
draw it first. He
Yes.
carved
I
it.
carved it, yes.
Yeah, right away. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can see also your question can lead us to another evidence about the glyphs. It is perfect or authentic or no. If we compare the writings with the symbols made by modern times, like the sign list, we can see a symbol like this, and this is Yusuf discovery. Okay, we can see the check was represented the body and the wing, okay, in a good shape. But anybody, even us, if we are doing the legs, we're gonna make 2 straight legs, okay. But if you look carefully, you're gonna realize that in the symbol in our list, we can see the knee, right? The man who made the writings also represented the knee. So it means that he is aware with his language. Yes, maybe his writings is not perfect, okay? It doesn't give the beautiful details like we see in the Egyptian tombs and temples, but still have the body or the details showing us the different meaning between this bird and the other bird, okay?
You brought another question to mind. Was it one person who carved these writings, or more than one?
We think there are 2.